The sun sets on the 2024 NFL league year. We've got just a couple more days in the free agency tampering window opening tomorrow. We've got some massive news. And, instead of going with the really good light, I could have had better light like this. I think you guys would rather see the sunset because we got to talk about Josh Allen, who's just signed a record contract with the Buffalo Bills. An extension, 6 years, 330 million. Now, if you do the math, that's 55 million APY for Josh Allen. So it is not at the top of the market in terms of APY. But as I've been covering the entire Brock Purdy saga now for months, and I've been talking about what's important, what ends up being the meat and potatoes of these contracts. It's not the APY, the average per year. These are about guaranteed money. And Josh Allen has 250 million guaranteed in the new contract. 250 million. The previous, and these are total guarantees, mind you, not full guarantees. We'll get the full guarantees at some point. Maybe tonight when we do a bigger show, we'll have the full guarantees as we head into the new league year or the legal tampering window of the new league year. But the total guarantees are the highest that we've ever seen. Number two is Dak Prescott at 231 million. So Josh Allen with this new 6-year deal, 330 million, has the largest guarantee ever given to an NFL player. And it just reinforces what we've been saying over and over and over again, that when you look at these contracts, you have to look beyond the APY. The media is going to be focusing on the APY. Here you could tell that the representation for Josh Allen has told Adam Schefter, has told the national reporters, focus on the guarantees. And I think that's good because I think that should give people a better calibration of what to look for in Brock Purdy's contract. Because even if Purdy isn't at 60 million, even if it isn't even at 55 million, I think it will be, but uh, that number is not going to reflect the true strength of the deal. The average per year is a good way for agents to go out and advertise, look, I signed my client for this much, because it's a surface level number. It's easy to understand. But we're here trying to look deeper into these contracts, and the fact that Josh Allen is now at 250 million total guaranteed, which I think is also going to translate into the highest fully guaranteed, well, second highest fully guaranteed amount ever. We don't count Deshaun Watson's deal because that remains an outlier, but he's going to be number two in fully guaranteed money. He's going to pass Joe Burrow in fully guaranteed money. That's going to be 146.5 million for Joe Burrow. Deshaun's at 230. I don't know if anybody's touching that for quite some time, but I would expect this number for Josh Allen to easily clear 150 million fully guaranteed, probably be up near 160, 170. That sets the true parameters for Brock Purdy's contract. Josh Allen's the MVP. So he's got to be at the top of the heap. He's the MVP, still in his physical prime. And the fact that he doesn't care enough about APY to demand 60 million from the Buffalo Bills shows you that uh, other quarterbacks don't have to care about that much. No, I get some agents are going to care about it. Some QBs are going to care about it. I think that at the end of the day, Dak Prescott had massive leverage entering this past season with the Dallas Cowboys. And it was important to him to be the APY leader, and he saw a chance to get up to 60, and he did. There's funny money in that deal to get it to 60, which is why I always like to look at the guarantees as something a little bit more substantive, giving us an idea of what is in the contract. But let's just sit back here and appreciate Josh Allen on the eve of the legal tampering window, because the 49ers and Brock Purdy are working toward that deal right now. And Josh Allen's got that 49ers tie. He's from Fireball. I've often said that Josh Allen is my favorite NFL player. And it's true. I mean, I've gotten to watch him from afar, and then I've got to cover one of his games in person this past year in Buffalo in the snow. Everybody knows that he's a physical specimen, but I think it's the journey that Josh Allen took to this point that is really worth admiration. This is a guy who wasn't even recruited by Fresno State when that was the college in his backyard in Fireball, farming town in the Central Valley, San Joaquin Valley to be more specific. Ended up having to go to Reedley College, which is a junior college, not all too far from Fireball, a little bit closer to Visalia, in fact. Earned his way to Wyoming from that point and wasn't the most accurate passer in the world at Wyoming, was completing about 50% of his passes. His first year with Buffalo, he completed only 52% of his passes. Then he worked on his mechanics and he morphed into the bionic quarterback that we see today. We've got a trade, by the way. This is just coming in all too fast. The Seattle Seahawks are trading two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver DK Metcalf to the Steelers. So Pittsburgh finally has the receiver that they'd been looking for a long time, because I remember all those Brandon Ayuk rumors to the Steelers last offseason. So Seattle has now gotten rid of Geno Smith, their quarterback, and their top receiver, DK Metcalf, in one weekend. I don't think Tyler Lockett is going to be back there either. This is absolutely wild. So here I am waxing poetic about Josh Allen and the way that he built himself up into an MVP and now the highest paid quarterback in terms of guarantees in the league. I think that this shows us that, hey, it's important to focus on the guys that have worked hard, done it the right way, and built themselves up and work behind the scenes with their contract. They're not putting it out there for the whole world to see. Josh Allen rewarded by that a couple times now. But I also think that it's also a financial lesson for those of us following the NFL, for those of us following how these contracts work. And uh, there's just way too much focus on APY. And Josh Allen just signed one of the most lucrative deals ever without even topping the APY list. It's a 55 million. And I feel like a broken record. I have definitely felt like a broken record over the years, and especially over the past couple of months, saying, guys, APY is not the be all end all. And I'm so happy that Josh Allen has just given us a real world demonstration of exactly that. I sense good vibes coming from both the 49ers and from Brock Purdy's camp right now. That's all that I can say about that. But I do sense good vibes in that situation. And I think that I've talked so much about the 49ers leadership, and they're all tugging in the same direction. They're obviously looking for a more financially efficient path forward that has, by and large, started to materialize. I think that goes back all the way to last offseason when they moved on from Eric Armstead. Today, they are moving on from Malik Collins. They may still trade him if somebody wants to cut in line for his services, but that's going to be another 10 million saved. But I think the 49ers are all in on centering around their franchise quarterback, Brock Purdy, moving forward. And obviously, the price of franchise quarterbacks has increased immensely since the last time the 49ers have had to do this. And that was when they made Jimmy Garoppolo, for a hot minute, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL back in 2018. DK Metcalf is going to sign a 5-year, $150 million deal with the Steelers. So I put up a video on Davante Adams signing with the Rams for 23 million per year right before this. You can go watch it if you want, but you have a lot to catch up on. 150 divided by 5, 30 million per year for DK Metcalf. So on the surface, I should have known that. I should have been able to do that math myself. But I'm out here in the sunset. I don't really have the technology that I do plugged into the studio. I'm trying to chill right now before the legal tampering window starts, but there is no chill. So I'm always going to work. I'm always going to bring this news to you guys. 30 million per year is obviously tied with Brandon Ayuk, who was at 4 years, 120 million. Now, here's a value proposition. And I talked about this with the Davante Adams news as well. Second round pick is the price. So second round, Pittsburgh sends a second rounder and they get DK Metcalf for 5 years, 150 million. It makes sense that this is the price because last year people were talking about sending a 2 and a 5 for Brandon Ayuk closer to the season and then giving out a deal worth about 30 million per year. A little bit more team control on this one, 5 years for DK Metcalf. So the price is about right. This is what the Steelers were trying to get done with the 49ers last offseason before San Francisco said, no, we'll keep Brandon Ayuk because he's going to sign a contract with us. That's the whole story of Kyle Shanahan running upstairs to let John Lynch know, don't make a trade to the Steelers. We want to make sure that Brandon Ayuk stays with us. But the 49ers did leave that exit hatch in the trade. And the exit hatch was after 1 year, in this month of March, especially before April 1st, before the year 2 guaranteed money kicks in, they can deal Brandon Ayuk. And the price for him for an acquiring team would be 4 years at 27.5 million per year. So Pittsburgh just got traded for DK Metcalf at 5 years, and they had to spend a draft pick, obviously, but 5 years, 30 million per year. The Ayuk cost for an acquiring team, if the 49ers are able to offload him, would be 4 years, 27.5 per year. The difference, the main difference being that DK Metcalf is healthy and Ayuk is coming off that ACL tear. So the best path forward for the 49ers might be to just sit there and hope that Brandon Ayuk heals and puts in a good season for you in 2025. And then maybe you could revisit another trade discussion in 2026 if you're building the team that way. The domino effect of what's going on right now is going to be crazy. We talk about Josh Allen. Yes, the big money with the Buffalo Bills. That, I think, just underscores where the quarterback market is right now. That should help people contextualize what's happening with Brock Purdy once we do get the 49ers Brock Purdy numbers in, once that deal is agreed to. But the domino effect of this receiver stuff is interesting because when Geno Smith was traded on Friday from Seattle to Las Vegas, the quarterback opening in with the Seahawks became the thing. And people were saying, okay, well, Sam Darnold is likely going to go to Seattle. That was from Diana Rossini on Friday night. Now we've heard that Pittsburgh is interested in Sam Darnold as well. So there is a two-team market here at the very least for Sam Darnold. And since DK Metcalf is no longer in Seattle, but instead in Pittsburgh on the extension with 5 years and 30 million per year, 150 million total, will Sam Darnold more likely go to Pittsburgh? I think it seems that the Steelers view Darnold as a potential upgrade over both Russell Wilson and definitely Justin Fields. We know Wilson's better than Fields. Where does Darnold fit into all of that? Well, I think last year, for the majority of the season, Darnold was better than Russell Wilson, too. The last 2 games, though, weren't as pretty, but who's to say that was the ceiling for Sam Darnold? Maybe it could get even better. And he's going to be a free agent. He'll be able to talk to other teams starting tomorrow because Minnesota didn't franchise tag him. And there is a world in which Sam Darnold sees the weaponry now in Pittsburgh as much more appealing than the weaponry in Seattle. And he'll have to choose between those two if both of those two teams are pursuing him. The money for Darnold is going to be fascinating because that's going to set more of a gravitational floor for the Brock Purdy negotiations. So the Mike just texted me. He said, "See if DMO is sad because DK Metcalf is out of the division." And Deommodore Lenoir said the other day that was the last fun thing about playing the Seahawks was his annual or biannual scuffle with DK Metcalf. So anyway, Sam Darnold, wherever he signs, whether it be in the 40s or the 50s, will very firmly solidify that middle tier quarterback floor, but he's obviously got a lot of upside. And Geno Smith, if he wants 40 to 45 from the Seahawks, I think Darnold's going to get more than Geno Smith because he's younger and I think better than Geno Smith. But wherever he signs, that's really, really going to create that. The concrete's going to dry on the mid-tier market. And Brock Purdy is obviously talking about a top-tier deal because Brock is #1 in QBR ever since joining the league. I mean, the statistics for Brock Purdy have been off the chart. He took the 49ers all the way to the Super Bowl, and they were very close to winning it all. So it's going to be top-shelf money for Purdy, but exactly how the contract is defined and how the concrete starts to dry is going to be influenced by where this lower range ends up, because you always talk about floors and you talk about ceilings. So pay attention to how much Sam Darnold signs for. Pay attention to how much Geno Smith signs for. These are both quarterbacks who have performed significantly worse than Brock Purdy, but are scheduled to get really big money. Again, Geno Smith asking for 40 to 45 from the Raiders. And I don't know where Sam Darnold's going to be, but we know that the Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers are both options. And the Steelers are aggressive. They're trying to fix a pass game that has been stagnant. They traded for DK Metcalf. He is out of the division. Geno Smith is out of the division, also to the AFC in Las Vegas. And this has been some of the craziest 15 minutes that I've ever spent just talking out in a sunset. The sunset to the 2024 league year is a wild one. Ever since I've gone online here, we've had two more trades. We've had the reason I went live is because Josh Allen signed the biggest deal that we've ever seen in terms of total guaranteed money. I'll have much more once I know the full guarantees for Josh Allen. But the theme right now is that things are crystallizing. Things are moving fast and things are crystallizing, both in terms of financial understanding of the quarterback market, because we don't want to focus too much on APY. Josh Allen's deal obviously didn't. Josh Allen's deal puts him in a tie at second for APY, by the way. Dak is number one at 60 million. Josh Allen's at 55 million with this new contract. So is Joe Burrow at 55. So is Trevor Lawrence at 55. So is Jordan Love at 55. Out of those, that's five quarterbacks at the top of the league, right? Purdy is better than three of them. Purdy's better than Dak Prescott. He's better than Jordan Love, and he's better than Trevor Lawrence. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are the rightful owners to top quarterback in the top five of money in terms of APY. So if Brock Purdy wants to enter the top five APY discussion, he absolutely has claim to it. But as we have just seen, it's the total guarantees and even more importantly, the full guarantees that determine the strength of these deals. Joey Bosa is talking, or I guess he can talk to the Dolphins right now. I was about to say he can't talk to them until tomorrow, but he's been released. 49ers and Joey Bosa, that's advanced to a place where it's very, very realistic. We talked about that this morning. But Joey Bosa is also talking with the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel's Miami Dolphins. And Joey's dad, John Bosa, played for Miami, and he is from Fort Lauderdale. He lives there. So it's either, if it's between the Dolphins and the 49ers, it's either go home to Miami or play with your brother and play for your dad's team in Miami, former team in Miami, or play with your brother in San Francisco. I would still think the 49ers have the inside track there, but maybe this makes Joey Bosa a little bit more expensive, and the 49ers obviously have to make sure that they watch the price in this situation. You've got to get Joey Bosa at a team-friendly price if you're San Francisco. Otherwise, it's not going to be the most cost-efficient signing for the 49ers. So, gosh, Allen signs, DK traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. NFC West seems, with the Seahawks, seems to be getting worse, but we'll see how the Seahawks reload. Maybe Sam Darnold comes in there. Devontae Adams is on his way to the Rams. They're effectively going to replace Cooper Kupp with another 32-year-old receiver in Devontae Adams. And the other piece of information I put out there when I uploaded the video a little bit ago was that Jamie Sherwood is off the market. The Jets have re-signed their linebacker, who was a potential 49ers option, but not an option anymore since he's back with the New York Jets. So really the only truly plus linebacker who hadn't re-signed with his former team is Dre Greenlaw. But Dre Greenlaw comes with the injury asterisk from last year. Like I said, a lot going on. This was an emergency live right at sunset. You guys want to see a little bit more of sunset? We can go ahead and do that. We can flip this around. There you go. Beautiful night. When the sun comes up, the legal tampering window will be open. And as I said in the other video, I've got a lot of videos up. So hit the subscribe button, go and follow along. Go check out the other videos and be ready, because if you hit the alarm bell, we're going to have this kind of in-depth coverage tomorrow when the legal tampering window opens. And yes, I do expect the 49ers